Alright, we are back with Tatanka versus Melvinfro, round of 8. So, this is two of the players who survived the group stage. Tatanka, tournament organizer, won the season before last. Melvinfro won last season. So, two juggernauts here, about to duke it out in a best of 5. And whoever wins here advances to the quarterfinals. So, I have let the players know I am ready, and whenever they are ready, we're gonna get this going. And here it is. Cheers to the players. That was super smooth. I always love to see it, especially when we do live games. And we are at deck selection here. So Tatanka knows exactly what he wants to do. Rockin' Wolf Badger. And meanwhile, Badger Owl out of Melvinfro. We've seen this deck out of him quite a bit. I'm curious if Tatanka believes that Wolf Badger can beat the Badger Owl. That's the specific reason he's bringing it. Tatanka in the bottom right. And our current reigning champion, Melvinfro, in the left-hand side. So both players, almost exactly the same decks here. Not afraid of the toads, as I was talking about earlier. Just fine running that single squirrel. Now, both these players are going to want to get to a macro game as fast as they can. But they can play Scrappy if they need to. And the decks will allow that. Like, Squirrel, Pigeon, Skunk is a solid early to mid-game composition. So you never know how this is going to play out. This map, though, is pretty great for our first game of the series here. And yeah, I don't think either side can complain. Maybe I like it a little bit. Yeah, I like it better from Tatanka, I think, because this is a nice little second base. Melvinfro could be cheeky and try to come in like this and attack it, but this is a little bit more nice and tight compared to what Melvin ended up with. You know, this ramping is just awkward. Like, if Melvin had a nice, easy way to get, you know, from point A to point B between the main base and presumably the 4th, this would be a little bit better. So yeah, we just gotta let this one breathe a little bit. Live match here, super exciting. And again, we are in the round of 8. So this is the quarterfinals. And this is single limit at this point, so if you lose, you're out. And this could have very well been the finals. Again, these are literally the last two winners of a premier tournament. Melvinfro last season and Tatanka the season before. So Melvinfro getting a quick expansion, Tatanka as well. Not really quick, to be honest. I mean, they built a couple warrant, you know, 8-farm double, I think, was the opener, and then I think they even got a 3rd warren. So they were both pretty safe about it. And now they're probably going to be in a little bit of a gentleman's agreement. Like, they're just going to keep an eye on the opponent's base, and they're going to try to out-farm the enemy just barely. Or let's see if they decide to do something else. Tatanka looks like he might be thinking about a tier 2. Actually, look at that, mirror tier 2s. Coming down from both sides at the exact same time, so builds are diverging slightly. Tatanka does get a 3rd farm on the natural. Meanwhile, Melvin goes for another warren. So I think point to Tatanka right now for build order. And Tatanka showing no fear, building even more farms. Melvin realizes again, cannot get out farmed. Got to keep up with the Joneses. And going to correct building a few too many squirrels earlier. So we're kind of in the race to 16 farms at the moment. Both sides just want to do this carefully. You can see they're constantly scouting, just double checking, and there you go. Tatanka has made it to 16 farms. And we'll get there a little bit earlier than Melvin. Melvin more looking for like a tier 3 drop or something like that. Really great scout there for Melvin. Tatanka getting a really great scout on the other side of the map as well. And Melvin is also going to grab that 16 farms. And Tatanka dropping the Wolf. Wolf is a great and a Badger from Melvin. So very mirrored approaches here. You could see both sides really just wanted to get 16 farms and get to tier 3. This is an important scout. Melvin does see the Wolf, and Tatanka going to come in and see the Badger. So I don't know. I think if Melvin... Double Badger from Melvin. Yeah, I think if Melvin moves out, I'm favoring his army comp right now. Badger Wolf, though, put out for Tatanka. So double tier 3. We're 4 minutes in this game. We've got 16 farms and double tier 3 from both sides. Gotta love high-level play. It's just an arms race. Did Tatanka see? Okay, Tatanka did see it. Both sides doing a great job of scouting. Really curious how this is going to pan out. And you can see now the big transition into Falcons. Just going to sell off those squirrels. Didn't really need them. Squirrels are pretty negligible at this point. You'd much rather have the Falcons. Only 2 skunks from both sides. Does make sense, though, because... You know, you want the skunks to answer the tier 1, but everybody's trying to sell off the tier 1 right now. So, no owls just yet from Melvin. Owl is going to be probably an ultra late game unit. I guess when Melvin saw the wolf, to him it just symbolized, you know what, I can't get into the owl, that'll be a little bit too slow. Wolf Badger will beat Badger Owl. Instead, I'm just going to go crazy on Badger production. Now, the nice thing about the wolf is you can see Tatanka kind of microing it over here. It's going to yell at all the pigs and buff them up. Tatanka not quite putting it interesting. He wants to buff some of the Warrens, it looks like. He wants that Badger to get out, I think. Yeah, curious. Okay, Tatanka's not going to try to mine with the wolf. So the wolf buff, obviously nice attack speed buff for your units, but it will also buff Warren production and farming from the pigs. So Tatanka's starting to posture in the middle of the map. Here we go. The big engagement. Coming in, Tatanka gets a pig for free. The Badger is revved up. And the wolf buff Badger gets a little bit of work, but he's going to fall back for now. Nice initial trade there from Tatanka. And more, I'm kind of liking Tatanka's comp at this point a little bit better. He wants the wolf buff on the Badger, although the wolf buff on the Badger doesn't last very long. He does get it. But it does feel like Tatanka's starting to get a lot of momentum here. All the Falcons are dead for Melvin, which is a really big issue. The Falcons are a ton of your firepower. But Melvin almost has the 3rd Badger out. Alright, all 3 Badgers are here for Melvin. The last one is still walking up. If Melvin's Falcons can be given a little bit of breathing room to rebuild... Alright, Tatanka still posturing. I think so far so good for Tatanka. Not going to overcommit though. Look at this 3rd base behind it. Wow. Melvin is not even aware of that yet. But Tatanka's just been trading so well, he's been able to just dump his money into a 3rd base. The Wolf Buff Falcons and Badgers, though, really doing a lot of work. However, the army of Tatanka is starting to get a little bit smaller. The Wolf Buff Badger, though, just incinerating everything. Oh my gosh, that is so much damage. Melvin gonna tap out here. Game number 1 goes to Tatanka. Wild. Alright, well. I mean, in my opinion, that Wolf Buff Badger, like, really did a lot of work there. I'm curious if Melvin might have to go back to the drawing board, or if he's still confident in Badger Owl. Like, to me, it just feels... Okay, Badger Fox. No way. Is Melvin gonna get the Fox going? Alright, now I'm on Melvin's team here. On the left-hand side, with the Fox is Melvin. Over on the right side, Tatanka. So, thinking the Fox Badger will be a little bit better to handle Badger Wolf. It'd be nice. I mean, Falcons do get one shot by the Fox. So, if you can kind of Fox micro... And Melvin does play Fox. He is quite good with the Fox, so... Maybe if you can get that Fox micro. Yeah, I have seen him go Badger Fox before. I think that's the 2 that he flexes, at least lately. But I'm just worried, like, the Wolf Buff Badger is just so much power. Like, does the Fox have time to rack up the value? You know, I don't know. Maybe if you get a bunch of Foxes, like, you get 3 Foxes and just, like, almost one-shot a Badger or one-shot it. I'm not sure exactly what the math is there. Like, the Falcons are the real deal. You know, the tier 3 is nice, but it's really the Falcons that are dealing a lot of the damage. For both sides, really. Especially for Tatanka, because he's got the Wolf buff. So the Fox is great there. The Fox just one-shots the Falcons. Another big map. This one favoring Tatanka, in my opinion. God, this is such an awkward ramp. Look at this. You gotta go all the way. Okay, there's a spot right there. But if you can, you get these nice 2 bases on the bottom. So, it is a 4-base versus 4-base map, but it's definitely better for Tatanka. We'll have to see how much that matters. I mean, most games are kind of settled on 2 bases. Tatanka doing a little cheeky move out there with the squirrels. He's just trying to shoulder check Melvin, make sure he's not being too greedy. He needs to be careful here, though. He is going to escape without losing any units. Nobody's got to write a letter to Mama Squirrel and tell her the boys ain't coming home. Nice scout from Melvin. Sees all he needs to see, really. Like, I don't mind that wasn't a totally deep scout, because at this point it's like, okay, you've seen all those farms. Like, there's no way he could have anything else. So, similar to last time, both players really just want to get up to 16 farms as best they can. You can see they've only built a couple warrens. Now we're there, so now we might diverge a little bit. Tatanka going immediately into that 3rd base. He knows getting the 3rd base a little bit wonky for Melvin. Melvin never quite scouted this base either. I mean, he probably can intuit that it's there, but has not confirmed that for sure. He does know he's got this base at least in the bottom. And Tatanka looks like he's ready to throw down a wolf. Needs to be careful. He's investing in a 3rd base, investing in a tier 3. And right now, Mr. Melvinfro is just investing in squirrels, so if he sees Tatanka start greeding up on that base, he's not going to survive long enough to get back here. Or is he? He's gonna... Oh my god, he is. So he's going to see the wolf. Oh no, he goes home. Does not see the wolf. Now Tatanka sees just an absolute ton of tier 1. And this is a good move out for Melvin. Yeah, Tatanka's being greedy. He's trying to get a tier 3, he's trying to get 3rd base, and Melvinfro's just building squirrels, so Tatanka's got to run back to his 2nd base with his tail between his legs. He's just going to give up this 3rd base, which makes sense. Oh, Melvin's commander going down, but it doesn't really matter. There's not a lot of micro that needs to be done on these squirrels. Right now it's a little bit awkward because they are starting to spread their fire, but Melvin's still just getting a ton of damage done. Oh my gosh, and all the pigeons here are really doing a great job keeping the army healed up, and this just might be too much. This could be game. If this base goes down, it's game for sure. There is no coming back from losing your 2nd base like this. Great job from Melvin, like really pivoting, you know. Just like still kind of playing greedy in the early game, but then, you know, changing the build order up a little bit. You know, instead of going right into tier 3, you know, just gotta call Tatanka out for being really greedy. And yeah, this is way too much damage. Tatanka staying in it. This is an incredibly important match. But the game's definitely over. The wolf as well. This is like the worst tier 3 you can have in this position. The wolf is not going to do anything for you here. So Melvinfro going to tie things up 1-1. Stay in the series. Tatanka going to try to show us some esports with his micro, but I don't know, guys. I've seen enough Tooth and Tail to know one farm is not going to beat all that. Great job from Melvinfro there. Again, just calling Tatanka out, essentially, and saying, you know, you can't be that greedy and get away with it every single game. Alright, 1-1. We've got a series here. And exact same decks from both sides. Got the lovely snow map here. In the top, we've got Tatanka. And in the bottom, Melvinfro. Again, the maps are pretty even. The RNG gods are doing nice. Andy Schatz behind the scenes, just, you know, making sure we get some good seeds. I think it's fine for both sides. I think if we're gonna say which one's got the better spawn, we're splitting hairs a little bit. Maybe you could almost argue Melvinfro just because, like, 9 o'clock's a little bit better for him. But I'd argue that's a little bit of a ninja for either side. You know, you've got all these nice bases here. You've got bases at home. You don't need to stop by McDonald's. So, a little bit of a smaller map. We might not see a straight to 16 farm game this time around. You know, the rush distance is just very small. You can see the territories are almost touching right off the bat. Also, the road as well is going to make it just even faster. So, if there's a time to do something like a double skunk push, it's definitely in this game. Quick second base from Melvin. Tatanka follows suit. And yeah, just gonna have to give this one a little bit of time to breathe. Again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Keep in mind, on my YouTube channel, I do have a playlist that has every video that every caster has uploaded to YouTube this season. I'm trying my best to keep that updated. A lot of other people have been casting. Jason Blade has been doing a ton. Shout out to Jason Blade. Urbane Olive. Evil Murloc casting this season. Kerpa and Tosh and QQ as well. The last few, though, do not have their stuff on YouTube, but you can still find it on Twitch. If you just go to the videos section in the Discord, they're pretty much there as well. So Tatanka, gonna move out with some squirrels. I don't think that's gonna get anything done. And it looks like we will be another 16 farm game. The question is, though, what happens after that? So now is the moment I would expect build orders to diverge. Do we get into a tier 3? Do we get into a bunch of tier 2? Do we zug down a bunch of squirrels? I love this little path. Oh, this is a path to nowhere, actually. Oh, imagine if this was Mishi playing and they had some ferrets. That is just, this is a ferret's dream right here. No, literally no way to get up there. So some skunks on the way from Tatanka. It's scouted by Melvin. Nice boom there on this tier 1. So Tatanka not gonna get out tier 1 this game. And it makes sense. This is not a map I would expect either player to just slam down a couple tier 3 Warrens like game 1. Again, the rush distance is just too short. As I say that, Melvin is throwing down a tier 3. But again, that was after some tier 2. And the tier 3 from Tatanka gets thrown down as well. Let's see if Melvin scouts. He sees it. Yep, does see it. And Tatanka has not seen it yet. So Badger this time around for Tatanka, not Wolf. And third base being taken by Tatanka. Let's see if Tatanka gets that scout, and does. Nice scouting pattern there. And the Fox coming out. Love to see it. No Wolf for Tatanka. Right now, I'm kind of liking Melvin's comp better, but I mean, I guess that's not a it's not a controversial statement to say I like the comp with 2 tier 3s better than the one with 1. Melvinfro does a deep scout there. Gonna be happy to only still see 1 tier 3 from the opponent. But Tatanka is getting into a ton of Falcons, but again, that's kind of walking into Melvin's. Oh my god, Melvin. 3 tier 3 Warrens. This guy. Okay, beautiful scout from Tatanka, though. Surprisingly sees everything he needs to see there. But if you're Tatanka, like, is it too, like, what do you do? Is it too late? There's no third base. So Tatanka could potentially outgrow his opponent in the long run. 5-minute mark just hit. But he's got to move now. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's probably too late to try to get your own tier 3. So Melvin's got so much money wrapped up in tier 3 units right now. 720 right now. Food wrapped up in units that aren't on the board. Tatanka's going to try to take advantage of that, but is the army difference actually big enough? Melvinfro seems to be holding his ground. And this is going to be a disaster for Tatanka if he can't push through, but it looks like Tatanka is starting to get the upper hand. No more Falcons left for Melvin, but as the dust settles, Tatanka does have more units. And he is able to come in here and get some damage onto the second base. The Fox is here, however. Tatanka going to try to rail down these Warrens, but they've already produced their tier 3. If the Fox goes down, it could possibly, but no, the Badger goes down. Tatanka's army is wiped, and even though he dealt a ton of damage, he was not able to take down the Fox and knew that that was going to be GG. Melvinfro putting another point up on the board. Man, Tatanka got so much damage done, and he wanted to finish off. He wanted to finish off those Warrens before they spawned, and he couldn't quite get there in time. This is still a best of 5. So, Melvinfro on match point. Melvinfro deciding what that last pick is going to be. Tatanka not losing faith in his comp. I think that's strong. I think you don't want to overreact and overcorrect. You know, he's got this rehearsed. This is what's got him here. And, you know, trying to pull, trying to be Mr. Bag of Builds when that's not your playstyle can definitely get you. On the right-hand side, just needs one more win to advance to the semifinals. Melvinfro. Over on the left-hand side, trying to stay in here. Needs to win this map to keep his tournament dreams alive. It is Tatanka. Again, another map that's just kind of fine. A little bit smaller, but the rush distance is somewhat clunky. I guess not. This third base for Melvin is a little bit tough, I think. You know, imagine kind of the attacks going on here. I mean, I guess there is a little bit of a saving grace. Like, it's not right on the ledge because there is a few doodads and rocks and whatnot there to prevent that. But, you know, I could see Tatanka just kind of sitting here mowing some things down with some Falcons or something later on. Fast Warren. Who started this? I think it was Melvin. I think it's going to be a no harm, no foul situation. Yeah, I like this better if I'm Tatanka. I mean, you got 3 bases on the high ground. I guess Melvin does too. Like, we're definitely splitting hairs a little bit. I just don't like how this one's a little bit forward is all. I don't think this base is really a base. And it's kind of a small map. Like, all this, like, if you think about it, like, none of this matters down here, right? And none of this matters up here. So, like, kind of what I'm showing on the screen, like, now is, like, the entire map. Holy moly, we're seeing Warrens before Mills. Melvin will scout the tier 2. Curious if that changes his build order or not. Maybe he sells a tier 1. No, he's just going to straight up sell the mill. Wow. Interesting. Well, Tatanka's now taking a mill, so that is spooky to see that mill being sold, but does see the tier 2, so. And Tatanka will probably commit to the mill. I don't think I'd sell that. I mean, he's about to, not really going to be able to anyways. I think he's fine. Yeah, Melvin even building that back. So Melvin just didn't want to get in a position where Tatanka has, you know, a timing push with a couple skunks where he doesn't have any yet. And you can see, you know, imagine if Melvin didn't sell. He would be, like, finishing his first skunk right now. Tatanka has 2 skunks, so that's why Melvin had to sell that first mill and just kind of rebuild it. But yeah, pretty even game so far. If you want to see more action, you're hoping Tatanka wins here. Because if Melvin wins, then that is it. He's gonna advance to the finals, or the semifinals, right? Badger Wolf for both sides, by the way. I'm just now noticing that. So Melvin did pivot over to Badger Wolf. He's kind of agreeing, you know what? That Badger Wolf in game 1 was pretty good. And will we see a rush to tier 3? Is the question. Tatanka will finish farming up here. And then, nope, just gonna go for the wolf straight away and then grab the farms. And tier 3 for Melvin will be the wolf as well, which could point to a bit more of an eco game. You know, if they went Badger, they'd probably be looking to move out right when the Badger hit. But with the wolf, they could still move out. Like, wolf is strong, especially a bunch of falcons. Melvin is gonna see the wolf. Melvin's actually gonna see Bofa, the tier 3, and so far, Tatanka's scouting is getting shooed away, but he's going to get in and see the double tier 3 as well. Very, very mirrored builds here. About now is when I'd expect to see scaling up on the Pigeons and Falcons. I think the spicy choices that players could make would be taking a third base or getting even more tier 3, like we can see Tatanka. I feel like that's a little spicy, going for the second Badger. Melvin is going to scout this right away, though. Yeah, so he's going to see the double Badger. How does Melvin respond to that? Is he going to get another Badger himself? He is. Wild. We are so neck and neck this game. Badger number 3, Tatanka. Calm down, dude. You can't get 4 tier 3 off of 2 bases. I mean, what do I know? Apparently you can. Melvin hasn't scouted in a minute. He's gonna get caught off guard by Badger number 3. Jeez. We're not even 5 minutes and 30 seconds in, and there are 7 tier 3 Warrens on this map. Alright, I feel like Melvin really needs to see. Tatanka's gonna be happy to not see a 4th tier 3 from Melvin. I feel like Melvin really needs to scout that 3rd Badger. He hasn't scouted in a while. I'm kind of getting worried about that. So what does Melvin have that's advantageous? Honestly, not a lot. Like, he's got more pigeons. He's got squirrels. The squirrels are kind of irrelevant at this point. Like, I feel like Tatanka's kind of getting the better army put together here. We might see a game 5. Melvin is going to come in and see the 3rd Badger and just be like, geez Louise, man. And it's almost done, too. Yeah, Melvin's going to try to match that. Yeah, I feel like there's about a minute or so that Melvin just wasn't scouting. And, like, trying to build that 3rd Badger now, like, maybe he waits and forces Tatanka to attack. But Tatanka's got the better, like, Tatanka's in the lead right now. I feel like he's got the better comp. He's got the 3rd base on the way. And again, this is a difficult 3rd base for Melvin, because this is, like, literally in the attack path. And, again, mills take time to build HP. So if Melvinfro starts to try to commit to that 3rd base, it's going to go down very quickly. But here we go, Tatanka trying to chase down Melvinfro's commander and make his army be unmicroed. We see the gas attack from both sides. Yeah, honestly, the HP having to build over time might make Melvin lose this game. Like, he can't take that 3rd base. Big engagement coming in. Melvinfro's Badgers have all dropped. This might be a quick Tatanka victory. There it is. Got a game 5 on our hands, boys. And look at that. As weird as it sounds, I think that game came, literally there was like a minute where Melvin didn't scout. And I think that's really what lost him the game. I mean, that extra firepower from that 3rd Badger just really helped Tatanka roll through. Alright, match point here. The winner makes it to the semifinals. The loser goes home. In the middle of the map, Tatanka. And over on the west side, Melvinfro. And this is a weird map. We finally get a weird map. All the maps so far have been super clean. But, of course, we're going to have something weird for the last game. And Melvin with the moles! Oh my gosh, that's actually huge. Melvin has a better early game deck than Tatanka does. And this looks like an early game map to me. I don't know about y'all. I mean, Tatanka can expand down here. It's not out of the question. But Melvin's expansion options are pretty limited. Maybe you just settle for this one. I guess it's not so bad. Like, the ramping is a bit awkward, but it's not the end of the world. But again, like, the rush distance is just so small. You can really punish your opponent trying to be too greedy. Because some maps, like, the reason that we see these players, like, kind of rail up to 16 farms and a bunch of tier 3s and stuff like that, you might be like, well, why don't they try to punish that? I mean, if the map is large enough, and again, the player knows how to hold, it can be very, very difficult to attack in this game. So you can, with Defender's Advantage, you know, be greedy, as long as you're constantly scouting. That's why you see them scouting each other the entire time, as often as they can. Because as long as you're keeping tabs on what your opponent's doing and just being slightly greedy and not just unreasonably greedy, you can get away with a lot of stuff. And Tatanka does want to expand. He's going to force Melvin to take, like, the awkward base, or all in, essentially. And Tatanka can take the 1 mill. He can take the mill and not build any other farms and kind of be okay if Melvin tries to play 1 base. You want to sneak a farm in there, right? Otherwise, it's like you spent 60 food on nothing. And let's see, Tatanka gonna scout the skunk. So Tatanka so far is reading that Melvinfro is on 1 base. And Melvin will take... He's thinking about it, not committing to it yet. But yeah, you can see Tatanka never built any farms. That's important. Because he can't quite invest... As the game goes on, he'll throw in a farm. But probably just 1. Like, he wants to get his skunks out. Like, now that the skunk's building, I wouldn't be surprised to see a farm. And there we go. Tatanka's going to come down and build a single farm. Maybe even 2. Okay. 2 is a little greedy. It's a little bit greedy. Melvin's got moles. That's a scary thing. So, I feel like Tatanka really needed that extra Warren. But Tatanka is a champion and I am not. Now, he's really putting... What's nice about the 2 farms is he's really threatening Melvin, where Melvin has to do something now. Like, if this game just keeps going, Tatanka's going to win. Okay, Melvin does get a 2nd base. He was thinking about the 1 base all in, decides against it. Melvin still can catch up. He just needs to do something, like, right when that base gets thrown down, throw, like, 4 farms down to just kind of keep up. And here's the big attack. So, the 2nd base was a red herring. I don't think Tatanka even scouted it. Maybe he did. Yeah. Oh no, the Badger! Tatanka, no! Come on! Tatanka, maybe he must have scouted it. Yeah, because he's double checking now. Oh my gosh. There's no way. Oh, he didn't see the mole warrens. Yeah, he's got to sell that Badger warren. Oh, Tatanka's about to just get ran over. He's building a bunch of squirrels. He needs to get some pre-gas out. That's so many moles, dude. Oh, the Badger. I think the Badger warren's going to be the death of Tatanka. I don't know, it is hidden. Like, or what if it's going to be Tatanka's savior? If he can actually pay for it before the fight begins, but he's not able to, it's just a few seconds too late. The problem is that that is never going to be paid for, because all the tier 1 are going to be taking up all the money. Now, there are some falcons, so if you can get rid of the squirrels, the moles and the skunks can't shoot up. But Melvin did even things out, and Tatanka just paid for the Badger. Oh my gosh. No way. Alright, so Melvinfro's done damage, but he hasn't done crippling damage. And he would have just evened this game out, but the problem is that Tatanka got the... I can't believe he got away with that Badger. Unbelievable. This is what makes him a champion. If it was me, I would have sold that Badger in a heartbeat. Oh, but if Melvin finds it, Melvin finds the Badger Warren! Oh my god. He wants that Badger Warren so bad, and he's gonna get it. And that is the risk that you take when you try to hide it, rather than keep it somewhere safe, and the Warren goes down. Tatanka's not necessarily dead, but it's looking very grim. Maybe if he hid the Warren, like, back there or something. Oh my gosh, and that's it! Melvinfro gonna take it! 3-2. Which means Melvinfro advances to the semifinals.